Most men will never hear this truth. Not from their friends, not from dating coaches, and definitely not from women themselves. But here's what nobody tells you. There are subtle psychological patterns, behavioral cues, and emotional tells that reveal a woman's past. And if you don't know what to look for, you'll miss them every single time. This isn't about judgment. It's not about shaming anyone. This is about awareness, about protecting your peace, about making informed decisions in your relationships. Because the truth is, a woman's sexual history doesn't just stay in the past. It shapes how she bonds, how she attaches, and how she relates to men in the present. Today, we're diving into 9 subtle signs that most men completely overlook. Signs rooted in psychology, behavioral science, and real-world observation. And by the end of this video, you'll see things you've been blind to your entire life. But I need to warn you, once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. So if you're not ready for the truth, click away now. But if you're serious about understanding female psychology at a deeper level, stay with me, because what you're about to learn will change the way you view dating forever. The men who understand this information hold a massive advantage in the dating market. They don't get manipulated, they don't waste years on the wrong woman, and they definitely don't ignore the signs until it's too late. Before we continue, if you're committed to leveling up your understanding of women and relationships, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists to give you the truth that nobody else will, the uncomfortable truths, the psychology that changes everything. And every single week, we drop videos that will completely shift how you see the dating game. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get into it. You've been there. You meet a woman who seems perfect. She's attractive, charming, easy to talk to. Everything feels right. So you invest. You open up. You start imagining a future. But then something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it. Maybe she's emotionally distant. Maybe she struggles to bond deeply, even after months together. Maybe intimacy feels transactional instead of meaningful. Or maybe she compares you to other men in ways that make you feel like just another option. And here's the worst part. You blame yourself. You think you're not good enough, not exciting enough, not man enough. So you try harder. You chase. You overcompensate. But nothing changes. Because the problem isn't you. The problem is something she's carrying from her past that she'll never openly tell you about. Most men waste years in relationships like this. They ignore the signs. They rationalize the red flags. They tell themselves that love conquers all, that the past doesn't matter, that they're being too judgmental. And by the time they finally wake up, they've lost time, energy, and emotional investment they can never get back. You see other guys going through the same cycle, getting into relationships that feel shallow, dealing with women who can't commit emotionally, wondering why intimacy feels empty despite being physically present. And the tragedy is, most of these men never figure out what went wrong. They just keep repeating the same pattern with different women. You deserve better. You deserve clarity. And that's exactly what this video will give you. What I'm about to share isn't based on opinion or guesswork. It's rooted in evolutionary psychology, attachment theory, and behavioral neuroscience. Studies show that repeated sexual partners can impact pair bonding ability. Research published in journals like Social Science Research and Archives of Sexual Behavior has demonstrated correlations with higher partner counts and decreased marital satisfaction, increased likelihood of infidelity, and struggles with long-term commitment. Why? Because of biochemistry. Every time a woman becomes intimate with someone, her brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin is designed to create emotional attachment, but when this process is repeated frequently with different partners, the bonding mechanism can become desensitized. Think of it like a piece of tape. The first time you stick it to something, it bonds strongly, but the more surfaces you stick it to, the weaker that bond becomes. This isn't about morality, it's about biology. and it manifests in measurable, observable behaviors. These behaviors are subtle. Most men miss them completely because they're not trained to look. But once you understand the psychology behind them, the patterns become crystal clear. Evolutionary psychologists have found that women who engage in short-term mating strategies develop different psychological adaptations than those who pursue long-term bonding. Their risk assessment changes, their emotional regulation shifts, their view of male commitment transforms. These aren't choices they consciously make. These are neurological pathways that get reinforced through repeated behavior. And here's the key. These patterns don't just disappear when she decides she wants a serious relationship. They're wired in. They influence her behavior whether she realizes it or not. So let's break down exactly what to watch for. Sign 1. She struggles with emotional vulnerability. Women who've had many partners often build emotional walls. Intimacy becomes physical, not emotional. She might be comfortable being sexual quickly, but when it comes to opening up about her fears, dreams, or past, she shuts down. Why? Because she's learned to compartmentalize, to separate sex from emotion, and that's a defense mechanism. You'll notice this when you try to have deeper conversations. She'll steer things back to surface level. She'll make jokes when things get too real. She'll be physically present, but emotionally be 1,000 miles away. This is a woman who's trained herself not to attach, because attachment in her past experiences has been temporary.
Sign 2. She casually mentions exes or past encounters. Pay attention to how often she brings up previous relationships or experiences, even in passing. If she constantly references other men, old flings, or crazy stories from her past, it's a tell. Women who are emotionally grounded in the present don't live in the past, but women with high body counts often have fragmented memories and unresolved experiences that bleed into current conversations. She'll drop names like you're supposed to know who these people are. She'll tell stories about that time with Jake or when I was seeing Marcus, and she won't see anything wrong with it. To her, these are just stories, but what she's really revealing is that her romantic past is a revolving door, not a carefully curated journey. Sign 3. She has a high tolerance for male attention. Notice how she responds to attention from other men. Does she encourage it? Does she flirt openly, even when you're together? Women who've been with many partners often crave validation, not because they're bad people, but because they've wired their self-worth to male attention. It becomes a psychological need. Watch her at social gatherings. Does she need to be the center of attention? Does she dress or behave in ways that invite male gaze, even in committed relationship contexts? This isn't about controlling what she wears. It's about observing whether she's psychologically dependent on validation from multiple sources, rather than being fulfilled by your connection alone. Sign 4. Her relationship with intimacy feels transactional. Does intimacy feel like a reward system? Does it happen only after you've earned it, or does it feel disconnected from genuine emotional closeness? Women with higher partner counts sometimes view intimacy through a lens of exchange rather than connection. It's not intentional, it's learned behavior. She's been conditioned to use physical intimacy as currency, to get what she wants, to keep men interested, to avoid deeper emotional engagement. So when you're with her, intimacy might be frequent, but it lacks soul. It lacks the vulnerability that makes physical connection meaningful. You can feel the difference, even if you can't articulate it at first. Sign 6. She moves extremely fast physically. If she's comfortable being intimate within the first or second date without any real emotional connection, that's a pattern. It suggests she's accustomed to physical intimacy without the foundation of emotional bonding. She's normalizing casual physical relationships because that's what she's practiced repeatedly. Most women who value intimacy as something sacred will naturally pace themselves, not because of outdated rules, but because they understand that physical connection without emotional foundation is empty. But a woman who jumps into bed quickly has learned to separate the two, and once that separation is normalized, it's hard to reverse. Sign 7. She has an unusually large male social circle. Look at her friend group. If the majority of her close friends are men, especially men she's had romantic or sexual history with, that's a red flag. It shows she hasn't established healthy boundaries and often keeps past partners in orbit. This creates confusion and prevents genuine pair bonding with you. Ask yourself, why does she need to maintain these connections? Often, it's because she's collecting validation sources. She likes knowing she has options. She enjoys the attention from multiple men simultaneously. And while she might claim these are just friends, the reality is they represent an inability to fully invest in one relationship. Sign 8. She displays anxious or avoidant attachment styles. Does she panic when you pull back slightly? Or does she emotionally withdraw when things get too close? Both extremes signal attachment wounds. Repeated short-term relationships condition women to either cling desperately or guard themselves emotionally. Neither pattern supports healthy long-term bonding. Anxious attachment shows up as constant need for reassurance, fear of abandonment, and emotional volatility. Avoidant attachment manifests as emotional distance, fear of vulnerability, and pulling away when things get serious. Both stem from inconsistent relationship experiences that have damaged her ability to trust and bond securely.
Sign 9. She romanticizes her wild phase frequently. Listen to how she talks about her past. Does she glorify her party years? Does she laugh about reckless decisions as if they were the best times of her life? This romanticization reveals she hasn't processed or grown from those experiences. She's stuck in a narrative where chaos equals freedom, and that mindset doesn't support stable partnership. She'll tell stories with nostalgia. Those were the best years. I was so free back then. I don't regret anything. But what she's really saying is that she values excitement over stability, novelty over depth, and chaos over peace. And if that's her value system, she's not ready for what you're offering. Let me tell you about Marcus. He met a woman named Jenna at a friend's party. She was magnetic, fun, spontaneous, the kind of woman who lights up a room just by walking into it. They hit it off immediately. The conversation flowed, the chemistry was undeniable. Within 2 weeks, they were intimate. Within a month, they were exclusive. Or so he thought. But Marcus started noticing things. Small things at first. Jenna would mention exes casually, almost as if they were characters in a sitcom she used to watch. She'd laugh about wild nights out, hookups that didn't mean anything, and how she used to be crazy in her 20s. At first, Marcus laughed along. He didn't want to seem insecure. He didn't want to be that guy who couldn't handle a woman with a past. But over time, he realized something deeper. Jenna never opened up. Not really. She'd talk about surface-level things. Her job, her favorite restaurants, the latest show she was binge-watching. But any time he asked about her feelings, her family, her dreams for the future, she'd deflect. She'd change the subject or make a self-deprecating joke. It was like trying to hug someone wearing armor. Intimacy was frequent, but it felt empty, like she was going through the motions, like she'd done this exact dance 100 times before. Marcus would try to create emotional moments, plan meaningful dates, have vulnerable conversations, but Jenna would always redirect back to surface level, back to fun, back to casual. Then came the male friends, so many male friends. Guys she'd text late at night, guys she'd grab drinks with one-on-one. And when Marcus expressed discomfort, she'd accuse him of being controlling. "They're just friends," she'd say. "You're being insecure." 6 months in, Marcus found out Jenna had been texting an ex. Nothing physical, but emotionally intimate. sharing things with this other man that she wouldn't share with Marcus. When he confronted her, she said she didn't see the big deal. That's when it clicked. Jenna wasn't capable of the depth Marcus wanted, not because she was malicious, but because her past had shaped her present. She'd trained herself to keep men at arm's length, to never fully invest, to always have options. Marcus walked away. And later he told me he wished he'd seen the signs earlier. All 9 of them were there from the beginning. He just didn't know what to look for. That's why this knowledge matters. That's why you're here watching this video. Here's what I need you to understand. This information isn't about controlling women or judging their choices. It's about protecting yourself. It's about choosing partners who align with your values and your vision for a relationship. It's about not wasting years of your life on someone who isn't capable of giving you what you need. You can't change someone's past, but you can decide whether that past aligns with the future you want to build. And that's not shallow. That's not judgmental. That's wisdom. Think about it this way. If you were hiring someone for an important position, you'd look at their resume, right? You'd want to know their experience, their track record, their patterns of behavior. You wouldn't hire someone with a history of job hopping for a role that requires long-term commitment. That's not discrimination. That's common sense. The same principle applies to relationships. You're not being unfair by observing patterns. You're being intelligent. You're being self-aware. You're refusing to ignore reality just because acknowledging it feels uncomfortable. So what do you do with this knowledge? First, observe without reacting. Don't accuse. Don't interrogate. Don't turn into the relationship police. Just pay attention. Watch how she talks about her past. Notice her attachment style. See how she handles emotional intimacy. Let the patterns reveal themselves naturally. Second, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Your intuition is picking up on signals your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. Don't rationalize red flags because you're attracted to her. Don't ignore warning signs because you're lonely or because she's beautiful. Attraction blinds you. Logic protects you. Third, set standards. You're allowed to want a partner who values intimacy the same way you do. You're allowed to prioritize emotional depth over physical chemistry. You're allowed to walk away from situations that don't serve your long-term goals. That's not judgment. That's self-respect. That's knowing your worth. Fourth, don't try to save anyone. Don't think you'll be the one to change her. Don't believe you can love someone into becoming who you need them to be. People change when they're ready, not when you need them to. Your job isn't to fix broken people. Your job is to find someone who's already whole. And finally, remember, you're not trying to find someone perfect. You're looking for someone whose imperfections complement yours. Someone whose past has shaped them into a person capable of the depth, loyalty, and connection you deserve. Someone who's done the work on themselves and is ready for something real. The right woman is out there, but you won't find her if you're wasting time with the wrong one. So use this knowledge wisely. Protect your peace, guard your time, and never settle for less than you deserve. If this video resonated with you, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to show this content to more men who need to hear it. Second, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We're building a community of men who refuse to be lied to, who value truth over comfort, and who are serious about understanding female psychology at the deepest level. Every week, you'll get videos that challenge you, wake you up, and give you the tools to navigate modern dating successfully. And third, share this video with a friend who needs to see it. You probably know someone right now who's ignoring these exact signs. Someone who's in a relationship that feels off but can't figure out why.
Send this to him. It might save him years of wasted time and emotional energy. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 9 signs surprised you the most. Which one have you experienced? Which one did you ignore that you shouldn't have? The community here is powerful, and your insights help other men who are going through the same struggles.